At exactly 7:43 a.m., the main server room of Data Sentinel Inc. in Austin, Texas, began flashing with red emergency lights. Terminal screens locked, cameras went dark, and the core network grid froze in silence. Engineers jumped from their desks, code windows flickering in error, all attempts to override the freeze useless. Senior technicians were being pulled from their meetings. The company's top cybersecurity team, known for defending Fortune 500 clients, was now under attack themselves by an unknown hacker or group capable of bypassing multiple layers of protection within seconds. On every monitor in bold red, "System compromised." As alarms buzzed through the upper floors, downstairs in the lobby, 12-year-old Emily Ortiz sat on a wooden bench, swinging her legs and clutching her backpack. She wore a navy hoodie, sneakers, and had a pair of mismatched shoelaces, one blue, one neon green. Emily was waiting for her father, Marco Ortiz, who had just finished his overnight janitorial shift. He'd forgotten his ID card upstairs, so he asked her to wait while he went to retrieve it. The building felt different today, Emily thought, louder, more panicked. Staff were pacing back and forth, phones glued to their ears, voices raised but unfocused. Something was wrong. Emily was no ordinary kid. While most children her age were watching cartoons or making TikToks, she spent her free time pulling apart broken electronics and writing simple Python scripts on her beat-up laptop. Her dad had found the machine in a recycling bin and fixed it enough to boot. Emily had fixed the rest. She liked to play around with firewalls and intrusion simulations, not to harm, but to see if she could outsmart them. She wasn't trying to be a hacker. She just liked solving things no one else could. From the bench, Emily looked toward the massive LED world map mounted in the lobby. Normally it showed digital traffic, dots, waves, and cyber data flowing across continents, but now it was frozen. Bright red, centered on North America. She had never seen it like that before. That's when she heard the words that pulled her in. "We're being wiped," said a man sprinting past. "If we don't stop this in 15 minutes, the main database is gone." Emily stood, her instincts stronger than her doubts. Without asking for permission, she walked toward the operations floor. A security guard reached out to block her path. "Sorry, sweetheart, this area is restricted." Before he could say more, a young developer with a frantic expression waved her through without looking. "She's with one of the interns, let her in," he shouted. No one questioned it. Inside, the scene was chaos. Engineers yelling over each other, tapping keys that did nothing, and sweating as if they were disarming a bomb. Emily squeezed through to a terminal and watched for a minute. She saw the repeating packet trace, the spoofed IPs, the system looping itself into failure. She recognized the pattern. It wasn't an external brute force attack. It was an inside redirect loop through a proxy that was embedded into cached session memory. She took a deep breath and said, "You're looking in the wrong place." The chaos didn't stop. One older man laughed, not even turning around. "Kid, now's not the time." Emily stepped closer. "The attack isn't on your firewall. It's in your proxy layer. You're guarding the front door, but they're already in your hallway." That made a few heads turn. The lead engineer, a tall man named Luis Freeman, looked at her hard. "Who are you?" she replied. "I'm Marco's daughter. I don't work here, but I can stop it." Luis hesitated. Then he muttered, "Bring up an isolated test node. Give her a clean interface." Someone handed her a keyboard. Emily pulled her laptop from her backpack, attached it to the test node, and opened a custom diagnostic tool she had built for fun just 2 weeks ago. She typed fast, so fast that even the senior techs paused to watch. She rewrote the cache redirect route, deployed a decoy tunnel to confuse the intruder's return path, and activated a ping loop to trigger a self-crash in the rogue proxy. 5 minutes later, the red screens turned blue. Systems rebooted. The massive LED map began to flow again, and silence filled the room, not from failure but awe. Emily leaned back slightly in the office chair, her hands still hovering over the keyboard as the Data Sentinel servers came back online. The quiet hum of machinery returning to life felt louder than the chaos that had filled the room just moments earlier. She looked up slowly, her hoodie slightly slipping off her shoulder, revealing the hand-drawn circuit diagrams she had scribbled with a marker on the inner sleeve. One by one, the engineers turned toward her, some with stunned expressions, others just shaking their heads in disbelief. The screens that had once screamed warnings now showed diagnostics running clean, system stable, threat neutralized. Louis Freeman, the lead engineer, leaned closer to his terminal and blinked. This can't be right," another technician whispered. "She rerouted the attack back to itself. It collapsed." Someone else added, "Did she just build a reverse trap on a kid's laptop?" Emily didn't respond. She simply unplugged her interface and started to put her tools away. For her, the crisis was over. The problem had been solved. She had done what she came to do. From behind the glass doors of the tech floor, CEO Rachel Lynn entered with two senior executives. She had been monitoring the situation from a private room, but when the screens shifted back to normal, she rushed down. "Who stopped the breach?" she asked immediately. No one spoke. Finally, Louise pointed to the small girl packing up her scratched-up computer. Rachel narrowed her eyes. "Her?" She walked over and crouched slightly so she could look Emily in the eye. "What's your name?" "Emily Ortiz," the girl replied without hesitation. "I came with my dad. He's on the cleaning staff." Rachel glanced around. "Can someone explain how a 12-year-old just saved $1 billion security company from total disaster?" One engineer stepped forward, still in disbelief. She didn't guess. She understood the exploit better than any of us. Her diagnostics were precise. She coded on the fly. That proxy trick she used, I've never even seen that in any training module. Rachel looked back at Emily, then smiled faintly. "And how did you learn all this?" Emily shrugged. "I like puzzles, and I read manuals, and blogs, and old security breach case studies." "You just outsmarted professionals who get paid 6 figures a year," Rachel said, half laughing, half amazed. Emily zipped her backpack and gave a shy smile. "I just didn't want everything to crash." At that moment, Marco Ortiz burst into the room, breathless, still holding his ID badge. "Emily, what are you doing in here?" She turned. "Fixing things." Marco looked around, confused, until Rachel extended her hand toward him. "Mr. Ortiz, your daughter just saved your job, and the rest of ours." The next day, every major tech blog and local news outlet ran some version of the same headline. 12-year-old janitor's daughter outsmarts hackers, saves cybersecurity giant. Emily's name trended on social media. Tech CEOs tweeted praise. MIT sent her a letter of interest. But Emily didn't seem to care. She just wanted to finish the algorithm she was writing before dinner. Data Sentinel issued a public statement confirming that the girl had single-handedly stopped the breach. And they awarded her an official honorary consultant status, along with a full scholarship toward any tech education she wanted in the future. Inside the Ortiz household, the mood was simpler. Emily sat at the small kitchen table while her dad made pancakes, his way of celebrating. "You know," he said, flipping one, "I used to think I was the hardest worker in this building. Turns out I just raised her." Emily grinned. "That's still your title, Dad. I'm just the emergency backup." They both laughed. She opened her laptop again, already mapping out a new tool she had thought of during the breach. Marco watched her with a proud smile. At school, things changed. Teachers gave her extra opportunities. Students who once ignored her started asking questions. She didn't brag, but she didn't hide either. She had proven what was possible, not just for her, but for anyone underestimated. In a world full of gates and titles, she had picked the lock with nothing more than curiosity, courage, and a beat-up laptop.